Hello coders, I'm streaming on the right platform today. I think this is Twitch. Hello Twitch. Yeah, I am. I did my previous stream I did was on the wrong platform by mistake at the start. Anyway, apologies for being late. I was working on getting today's stream sort of prepped and ready, and it kind of went a bit on, and plus I needed to get my cup of tea and everything, so busy. Today we are going to be doing something a little different. So I was supposed to be doing the code review today, but I need to put that on hold and do that next week, because I am very close to completing a big part of the How to Code Well backend for this quarter, which is the social login stuff. I've been working on the GitHub integration for a long time, through Christmas, and it's working quite well. However, I haven't been able to get an end-to-end test through the door yet, because I need to create a test API server to handle the requests coming back from GitHub, to basically mock out or simulate, I suppose, the GitHub server. And there's going to be more than GitHub. There's going to be Facebook and Google and other bits and pieces as well. Plus, this is going to be used, I would hope, in the future for other external things that How to Code Well will do. So I'm hoping that this is going to be used. I think it's going to be hopefully used in anger. And the thing is, with the testing on these things, it's quite difficult, because you're dealing with external sources, you're dealing with things that you don't really have control over. And I was doing a lot of research today and yesterday about how on earth do I go ahead and actually do a test. I've tested all of the backend, so the backend in terms of unit tests and even some integration tests, as to once I have a positive response from GitHub, from their API, to then sign the person up or log the person in to the backend of How to Code Well. So a lot of that's been tested. We've got 100% code coverage on that specific part. But that is based on the fact, that's an assumption that we have a positive thing from GitHub, and so without actually issuing that request to GitHub, it's very difficult to actually do a full end-to-end test. And of course, you can't do an end-to-end test and hit the GitHub API for each test, because they'll throttle you. And they'll give you rate limits, and then they'll just block your IP eventually. So what I need to do is basically like a man in the middle type thing. I need to send my GitHub requests to a test API, and then get that test API returning something back, and then using that as my end-to-end test. And I was looking into all sorts of things like reverse proxying, and there's this thing called man-in-the-middle proxy. I was looking at that. I was looking at VCR, which is it's a PHP package about basically video recording on the fly as you go. So it keeps it keeps a record of the requests and the responses that you can then play back without actually issuing those requests and responses. I had a look at all sorts of things, but really it boils down to the fact that all I need to do is create myself a little server, a little test server somewhere, and use that as my request and response. That's all it is. So I built this. Basically, in the last half an hour, I threw this together, which is our test API server. It's fully open source. It doesn't really do much at the moment. It's just a Symfony 5 app running in PHP 8. And I'm going to be using that to create controllers that and routes that mimic the GitHub routes. So instead of calling GitHub, I'm going to be calling this server. Like I said, this isn't just for GitHub. I'm hoping that this is going to be used for other third-party things as well in the future, as a means for me to test this in a modular fashion. So I was thinking about building this in Node. That was like that was my go-to. Let's just build this in Node because that's fairly straightforward. Then I was thinking about maybe just using Python and Flask, but then I thought the backend is written in PHP and Symfony, so it would just make sense to continue that on. Otherwise, that's another thing I'm going to have to keep maintaining. Maintaining the API, the actual backend of How to Code Well, is going to be just as the same as maintaining this, I suppose, because it's written in the same language, written in the same framework too. So, hello, Mr. DB303. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm all right. I'm a bit tired, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm still sort of getting back into normal routines, I suppose, after working crazy hours over the last God knows how long. So I'm slowly getting back into it. Thank you very much for your submission as well to the code challenge. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that today. I'm postponing it for next week, just because I want to crack on with this. I do have a feeling that I'm slipping with this deadline. The deadline that I put out last week about the roadmap for How to Code Well, the tech roadmap for 2021. We need to nail this social login stuff in the first quarter, and without this end-to-end test, I can't prove that this works. I didn't realize I would need to build a server for it, but you know. There we go. Okay, so I literally don't have this set up on my system. I was working downstairs on the laptop like literally 10-15 minutes ago. So I need to pull all this down, and I need to deal with all the bits and pieces. So let me take that. Let's do that now. So let's do a Docker machine start all the things. Whilst that's going, we're going to jump into websites here, and we're going to do a Git clone of the test API. Again, this is I wanted to do this open source. I want to try and open source as many of these components as possible. So this is open source too. It's actually it's actually going into the Discord server, the open source channel. Cool. Okay, that seems to be all there. We will do an eval, and we'll do an eval up here. Okay, so I should now be able to do a Docker compose up -d. This is probably going to take a wee while to go because we're pulling down images and other jazz, so I'll just mumble along as usual. I hope you're doing well though, Mr. DB. I hope you're having a good weekend. A good weekend. It started snowing here like a few minutes ago. The ground's too warm though. I don't think it's going to settle. Or is it too wet? I forget which one it needs to be. I don't know. For it not to settle. Probably both, to be fair. I don't know. I'm literally babbling now, aren't I? It did snow, is it last week or the week before? I forget. Everything keeps merging into one day, to be fair. But it did snow recently. Murphy loved that. It was his first time of actually seeing snow, and being able to walk in snow. He was too young before when it was snowing. God, he's like 18 months now. That's crazy. 18 months old. For those wondering, Murphy is my English Springer Spaniel, my puppy dog. Before the stream, I took him out for a nice hour-long walk, just around the block. On his lead. No running off the lead this time. It's a bit wet. We only just, like yesterday, we gave him a bath, so we don't really want to get him too muddy too soon. No snow in Peterborough, but some last weekend. Yeah, I think that's when we had it, last weekend. This will be the first time of using PHP 8 on a How to Code Well project. That's pretty exciting. And oh my god, I was dealing with the Docker file. I was rushing like anything to get this Docker file up and running. It's pretty much a clone of the How to Code Well server at the moment, backend, but without all the bits and pieces for things like xdebug and all of that jazz, which I probably should have added, but I was in a rush. Okay, so that's done now. So if we did docker ps -a, we should see that we have many things, but one of them is this one here, running off of port 8080, and it's using the DNS 0000. So we should technically be able to do this, right? If I can hang on a minute, let me just make sure my host file's correct. I'm gonna do this off stream for a second, bear with me a second. New window, default profile, that's fine. Let's do a cat of etc and then hosts, and we have, yeah, we are there. Excellent. So I should be able to marry up the IP addresses. So if we did Docker machine IP, that should be 192.168.99.138, which it is. And I should now therefore be able to go to my host entry is howtocodewell.local. That goes to that IP Docker machine. And we should therefore be able to go to port 8080. And if this has worked, which it hasn't done. Why hasn't it worked? What haven't I done? Let's do an ls of that. We don't have a vendor directory, do we? Okay, let's do a docker compose. Actually, what have I called the service? Cat of docker compose, yeah. What is that? What have I done? It is called the API test server. Okay, let's jump into that container and run the composer jobby. So let's go docker compose exec, then the container name, and then bash. What? Okay, I've gone and API test server. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Okay, let's now run composer and install. Whilst this is going on, yeah, that's what I was missing. Everything. Whilst that's going on, let's create this. Whoops. Let's bring that down for a second. File open. There we go. Right, bear with me whilst I try and find the stuff. Where did I put it? Code, how to code well. How to code well, and I'd put it in, was it website or something like that? Website, test API server, there we go. Let's open that up. Let's do that in a new window. No, let's do it in this window. I don't need that opening. There we go. Marvelous. Yeah, so the vendor directory is building. I can get rid of that window, and this is still doing its thing. Okay, now the idea is that I should be putting in controllers for like GitHub controller and Facebook controller and AWS controller, whatever, Google controller, and then and this will be running in the Docker machine under that IP address on that port, and then I should be able to fire my my API tests, my acceptance tests, from the backend, how to code well the API, to this instead of GitHub, and then this should then send back a representation of what GitHub would normally send back, and then that should bridge that gap. Hopefully. Now, whilst this is going through, because this is going to take a wee bit of time, I think, we're going to also take a look at the API, which is here. And we've got something on the stash. What have I got on stash? Git stash list. Is it list or show? WPI login. I think that's old. Let's drop it. Yeah, it is old. Stash. Drop. There we go. Okay, let me pull that down. Git pull. Right. The following untracked working tree files will be overwritten on the okay. Git status. Status. Okay, let's do a git rm of C3. C3. Let's just remove a file. C3. No! RM C3. Come on. Oh no, I can see an error now. And then let's do git status again. There we go. Next, do a git pull on here. So I'm just dealing with the APIs at the top. Down here is the test server. Okay, this is because of the .env files, which I haven't got. Wonderful. Okay. Give me a sec whilst I deal with this. I'm now properly multitasking here. Let's bring the API in play. I'm going to just put these out of shot at the moment. And I'm going to copy across a blanket env file. They'll do. Into here. And then I'm going to get rid of all the stuff that I don't need. So that can go. I don't know why I copied you across. Okay, so this is... That's fine. That's fine. That's not fine. Localhost is fine. Just having a look at my trusted hosts. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Oops. Yeah, that's fine. And we're going to get rid of that as well. We don't need that. We're going to get rid of... I mean, it's on git ignore, so I don't have to worry too much, but it's always good to clean out what you don't need. You end up with environment variables. There's no need for doctrine. And there's no need for the mailer. There's no need for any of that or any of this. We need that though, I think. Domains, yeah, that's fine. We don't need any of that. We don't need any of that. Certainly don't need Stripe. That can go. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right, let me see if I can build this again. Let's hit, let's do Composer install. Actually, I'm gonna need to build it because that would have been injected into the image. Docker compose up -d -build. I think that's right. And whilst that's going on, let's get back to this. This is the API. With this, what I need to do is we're already in. We've already evaluated the shell, so I should be able to just jump into the API, like so, into the container. Excellent. And I'm going to run composer update install. Install. Run composer install. Not update. No. Okay, that's done. Awesome. Let's jump into the container here for the composer. No. It's test bash. There we go. Jump into there, and then we'll do composer install again. Come on. Both doing the same thing. Okay, good. That's done, and that's all clear. So we should hopefully now, fingers crossed, we go back to that IP address, that port 8080. We should. Yay! There we go. That's the boilerplate of Symfony 5. Woo! So that works. So, and also this is doing well too. Okay, let's bring the code back into shot. Bear with me a second whilst I deal with all of this jazz. Okay, that's the API. That's the API server, the test server. Getting confused. And then this, let's get rid of all of that stuff, is the actual API itself. Okay. Hey, Club Spinach. How you doing? I'm doing fine, thank you. Hello. Club Spinach. What a great name. Are you doing mobile development? Not at the moment. No. I'm doing if I could learn how to talk, I'm building a test server API for GitHub. I'm working on the How to Code Well backend. And what I would like to do in this quarter is build the social login. So this is logging in via third-party things such as GitHub, Facebook, Google, yada, yada, yada. And I'm quite big on testing, so I want to get this tested before it goes out, obviously. And one of the things that I'm struggling with is end-to-end testing the authentication from GitHub back to the development box. And I don't want to be hitting the GitHub servers all the time. So this is my way of kind of changing the direction of the request to the to my test server, my test API, to then come out with a simulated response. In the API, did that all build? Did we get all the stuff? We did. Excellent. What we're doing here in the API is, if I ran, first up, if I did a make test, let's do test unit. I'm in the container, aren't I? I shouldn't be in it. Make test unit. Let's just make sure my unit tests are up and working. Huh. Come on. I know you're having to think about it. 2 things running at once. My computer is getting slow. Here we go. Right. Okay, so hopefully these will all pass. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. These are just unit tests. I got 299 of them I just saw up the top. There we go. If I could get that to 300, that would make me happy. Nice round number. Okay, so that's the unit tests. Let's do the integration tests. So this is testing the integration of the database and other bits and pieces, integrating stuff. These aren't the API tests. This should all pass as well. And we've got some new ones I added to do with the GitHub Manager tests, GitHub Manager, blah, 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 these things here, get repositories, creates, and all that jazz. These should all pass. I hope. I wrote a load of this code on my laptop, and I've only just pulled it in. So fingers crossed I haven't screwed anything up. How do I teach people how to code? Oh, sorry. Beg your pardon. I'm getting distracted. I teach people on my YouTube channel how to code well. There should be YouTube. There we go. That's my YouTube channel, How to Code Well. And the thing that we're building at the moment, I really should give people context, to be fair, is this. So this is the current website. These are all of the courses that I've done, or most of them. I should stop saying all of them because there's more. So I've done like Python and Symfony and Jekyll and Linux and MySQL and Python. Did I say Python? Docker, other things as well, HTML, blah, blah, blah. JavaScript and all that stuff. And what I'm building at the moment is basically this, right? So this is the beta version. And you can see on the live site, if I was to hit login, it would take me to this email sign up thing. It's not an actual login, it's just be the first to get access type stuff. This is my mailing list. But what I'm doing on the beta site, which is the private thing, if I hit login and logged in, I want to have a section here that says like login with GitHub, login with Facebook, login with Google, and all that other jazz. That's what I'm building. That's what I'm developing at the moment. And the idea is that you would connect to those external things, and then that would send an authentication token to the API, and the API would store that and then send an authentication token of the API back. And then that would be how in a nutshell, how it would all work. So this is on beta. This isn't live. This is only on beta. And yeah, so I want that is the next piece of the puzzle that I want to do. And also having the GitHub integration means that I can do some clever things with GitHub, the private repositories for the premium courses. So, for instance, if I was to create a course that was premium, so you had to subscribe financially to get that those set of courses, I could pull in the private Git repository through the API. So there's a lot. So basically, what I'm doing is building the foundations for those things at the moment. Yeah, so, okay, let's get back to it then, because there's loads to do. We've only got this so far. What I want to do is, we've got the integration tests they've passed, unit tests they've passed, there's the API tests, and there's one of them that should fail, and this is the thing I want to work on. So let's do test API, So this is the three tests. These are the test suites. So this is going to take a wee bit of time, and the reason being is that these tests actually make the requests to the backend, and for each request it drops the database and recreates it, puts it back to a standard, a common ground, if you will. So these will take a wee bit of time, and I've got a horrible feeling it's the last one that fails, but I want to just run them all through just to make sure that everything's good. Of course you can. Yeah, tag me on Twitter. Twitter is at How to Code Well. It's all there, all How to Code Well, all the things. I even have a Facebook page, which I have lost time to do. I used to push loads of content to Facebook, but I don't use Facebook personally, so I used to, but I don't anymore. I don't have time for it. But that's at How to Code Well. The YouTube channel's at How to Code Well. Twitter is at How to Code Well. What else is there? Twitch, obviously, How to Code Well, and the website, howtocodewell.net. What am I forgetting? The podcast. That's howtocodewell.fm. There we go. Right, so I'm not going to bore you with all of this stuff because there is 75 of these, and you can see how slow these are going. So whilst that goes through, let's go and build some bits and pieces for this, because we should get an error response with, the reason why we can't connect to GitHub. So down back in here, let's do, I can't remember what the command is. Let's get into the console for a second. Bin console. I think it's like make controller or something daft. We also need to create this as a GitHub branch. I think though it's make controller, is it? Is that right? I could always just do it hard-coded. Not hard-coded, but just do it without this. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Make controller. Groovy. Okay, yeah, cool. I can't promise when I can get around to doing that, but I will. I'll take a look though. So Club Spinach is saying that they created a application focused towards YouTube and its community. I need some feedback on it, and we'll also post its video to Twitter, so you can check it out. Yeah. There's also a community. Is there a community? I forget. There's a channel on our Discord server that you can post things to as well. If you're not a member, do this in the Who Am I section. Discord. That's the howtocodewell.net Discord channel. Right. Unless you're after like the amount of spam I get because I got a YouTube channel and a podcast is unreal. Lots of these sort of apps that promise to be something that they're not. Please don't be one of those. How boost your online sales by joining this app, and then you discover that they haven't actually made any sales, and they don't actually have anybody on the platform. I was trying to get sponsorship not so long ago, last year, and it turned into this I don't know. I'm not a sales guy. Let's just put it like that. I'm not a sales guy. Thing is, doing videos, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. And it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like you've got to provide value for them, they've got to provide value for you, And there's this constant argument I have about what I'm promoting, is that actually worth my users' time, my audience's time. So I'm very cagey when it comes to things like that. Probably more than I should. Okay, right. Whilst this is going off, let's do that. Let's get back into Bash, and let's run bin console make controller. What are we going to call this controller? This is for the listening to the GitHub requests. I suppose I could call this GitHub controller. That's very original, isn't it? Okay, there we go. Da 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 da. There we go. Lol. GitHub. Okay, so that needs to be like / and then something, and that needs to return a JSON response. Let me put in some. I've just thought, oh dear, I'm not working in a branch. Git checkout -b features GitHub auth. There we go. Right. I want to create. I can't remember how to do this. I want to create a global root. Is it just root? Let me have a look. There's the failures. There's the failures. There's two. I thought there was only one, but there's two. They're the ones that are failing. Okay, I'm in the API and I want to have a look at how I've done the controllers for the global namespaces. Well, the global roots. And I think I have one in course. Yeah, here we go, root. Excellent. So let's go into here. And it should be root. This is GitHub. That is what it's going. That's the root of this. We'll call this GitHub as well. GitHub and then underscore, which means now I can do like just bring these back. So this is going to be auth, some auth thing. We'll find out in a minute. And then this will be something else. And then this will be the return of that JSON. We just have to wait for this to run because this will give me the output of what it's trying to hit. We certainly need a request. Definitely need a request. Probably not that request though. HTTP Foundation, that request. The response, as I said, is going to be JSON. So we, instead of this render, we do this return JSON. Gosh, my spelling is bad. JSON response. No, we need, God's sake, Fisher, new JSON response. And we take an array, and we take the status code as well. So come on you. How many tests to go? I wish there was a counter, like one of 75? So you know where you are? I'm just so impatient, it's unreal. I'm assuming this is auth. It probably isn't. But we should be returning failure cases as well. So which makes me think, actually, maybe this needs to be split out a little bit. So instead of just GitHub controller, maybe we need to have a folder called GitHub. Yeah, I think this is what I need to do. A folder called GitHub. Let's keep it all GitHub. That goes into there. This is GitHub controller. And this is auth control. This is auth, isn't it? Because there's going to be more than one, there's going to be more than one case here. So that would be auth. So for instance, you would have GitHub user, so bringing down the user. You would have repos, or code, or I don't know what you would have, but you would be making more than one type of request. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just sort of splitting this out a wee bit. Right, here we go. So, oh, why? It didn't work. That's not what I wanted, but we'll deal with that. That should have gone to localhost. Never mind. But anyway, this is the thing. So it's going to, on the back end, it's going to connect GitHub, and it's being sent to login authorize. But we need a check. Yeah, here we go. Check here, and that's forbidden. I'm gonna need to mess about with my. Which means I gotta run it again. Ugh. Sorry. What I need to do in packages, in dev, hello, that's missing. There should be a, hang on a minute, I'm in the wrong project. It helps when you're in the right project. Right, in config, wherever that lives, here, in packages, we should have this here. This is the global jobby. GitHub. What was the failure for the first one? Okay, that's fine. Second failure? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so that's all set up. That's fine. But in dev, we do have that. And they are GitHub. It's generic. That is the GitHub provider. And that's the checkback. Now that should have gone to GitHub provider, which should have gone to, this is the stuff I was playing with yesterday. So that should have gone to security, GitHub provider, and it should be passing to localhost 8080, not 8000. So let's deal with that first. Okay, so that should be firing off, and it extends the league OAuth 2 client provider GitHub. This is what they should be, right? And you can see all this coming back through here. But it's the variables. They're not found. I was a bit too drastic with the variables, I think. Okay. Ugh. When I was playing with them earlier. Okay, let me bring this off stream. Let me deal with those. I'm gonna have to open my laptop because I can't remember what they are. Give me a second. Okay. Okay, give me a sec whilst I push these across. That's not that. That's another note. That was the MVC pattern that I was discussing a couple of streams back. I want these things. That's what I want. Woo! Okay. But that doesn't answer the question as to why that is going straight to GitHub. It should be going to localhost. Because unless I haven't committed something, bear with me a minute. No, that's good. In services, at the bottom here, we should have... Oh. No, that's handled... that is handled in... Again, the wrong project. That's handled up here, isn't it? So in... wherever it lives. In services, in here. That is done... Not there. No, it's not in service. Sorry, I'm going around in circles. It's handled in packages and in dev, which leads me to believe that the tests aren't running in development mode, which is weird. I just want to do a comparison of screens. So this is dev. This is the security provider, which is the which you don't always have to pass through. It's just because we're overriding the provider to allow us to change the URLs of where these requests are going from. I've just put in these environment variables. I tell you what, let's just run the tests once more, but they shouldn't be going to GitHub. They shouldn't be going to GitHub anymore. That should be localhost. But the fact that this threw an error, let's deal with that. So I'm just going to jump into Bash here. Of the API. Oh, come on. There we go. And we're going to do a test specifically for code set. Run, it was API and it was connect. Let me get the right thing. So if we go down to tests, and it was an API, and it was GitHub Connect, it was this one, the check. So let's run that, just this one. That's all I want to do, is just run that. So -G, because we want to run the group. So that should just run one test, and that should send a request. And now I'm thinking I need to rebuild the Docker image because I've just changed the environment variables. It's thinking about it. It's very slow. What's going on here? Scroll up. There is no OAuth client called GitHub main. Well, no. But this is a different error to what we had before. It's a 500, it's not a 403, not what we want. It's a 500. That's weird. It shouldn't be called GitHub main now. I swear there must be something that I haven't pulled down. I just want to double check something. Just give me a second. Let's just get into here and just do a git pull once more. Yeah, apparently everything's up to date. Fine. Okay. Right. So you're complaining about GitHub main, which is something I removed. These by the way, they reference these things. So GitHub and HTCW. GitHub main was the one I had previously, and I thought I removed it all. In fact, before the stream, I ran all these tests fine on my laptop, apart from the failing one, but it was coming back with the right URL. Let me just have a look. GitHub main is apparently in the GitHub Authenticator. That's a lie. Let me just have a look and see what's on my laptop. SRC security. Okay. Fine. That's weird. Right, let's run these again. I just want this to say localhost. I don't want GitHub, and I don't understand why. So that this is going to GitHub and it's failing. Oh, and it's saying that it's forbidden. Oh man, I promised this was working. Is it because can I run these tests in a different environment? Can I just run help and try and get this into? That's what I think it is. That's what I think it is. I think my .env file is puts it in a different mode. Is that right? Let me have a look. env appdev. Okay, let me remove that from stream just for a second. I'm just going to have a look at my environment variables. So print env. What have we got? Yeah, no, it's running dev. It's running dev. Okay. So can I do... let's clear that down. Is it possible to do bin code set run API help? Can I pass an environment variable or something? env, here we go. Run selected tests in a selected environment. So can we do this, but in env dev? Let's force it into dev, because technically what should happen is that it should read the dev. Wrong project. Whoa. Technically what it should do is it should go config packages, and then it'll look for the environment variable being dev, and if it doesn't find dev, it would run one of these things. Now I thought all tests just ran in dev or test. So let's just run this and see. So this shouldn't pass, this should fail, and it should fail, and it should give us... why? I'm not winning today. I'm not winning today. It's not picking up this. Why are you not picking that up? You're picking this up. And in this one here, it's not using the this provider class, which means that it's using the real GitHub thing. The provider class, this thing here that I've done, is it wraps it. Well, it doesn't decorate. It extends the provider, which is the real provider, and it sets the these public properties, because that's the real thing. It's using that API domain. No, it's using domain. Sorry, this domain. That's the authorized one. That's the access token one. That's the one to get the user. So... Hi, Tyrannid. I'm always in the middle of a headache. I don't understand. I mean, this is working fine on the laptop. It was working fine like 30 minutes before the stream. It was running the test, and it was saying that the localhost couldn't be found, which is what I wanted. Because I want to send the localhost, I want to build an API test server in localhost, using localhost, which will simulate the API of GitHub, which means that I should be able to do my end-to-end tests. But for some reason, not obvious to me right now, is the way it's set up, is it's not reading this file, it's not reading this configuration in dev. It seems to be reading this configuration. And the difference between dev and the default is that in dev mode, we're dealing with this GitHub. I'm rubber ducking, by the way. I'm rubber ducking. What we're doing in dev is that we're overriding the provider class with a GitHub provider class, which I've created down here, which extends GitHub, which is the default provider class, and it overrides the public properties to run localhost. By default, they run these things. So a domain and API domain. Let me just double check, make sure I've got that. Yeah, domain and API domain. Right. And you see what I want is this to be the new the test API server that I should really be building right now. So it would send all the requests to that. And then I would fake the fact that it's being authorized, and then I can continue on my testing. But for some reason it's not. It's picking up the default one. So let's step through it in my head. It's seeing this, and it's not seeing this, which could mean that the file names are wrong. KNPU, OAuth2, client, YAML. They are the same. Okay. Okay, let's tear everything down and bring everything back up. Let's do that. I'm thinking it could be some caching thing, because I haven't teared this down. I just jumped into it, so I'm thinking maybe the configuration. I'm thinking the configuration is cached somewhere. The configuration for the services is cached somewhere, and I need to clear the cache by dropping the container. Well, that's a bit drastic. I could just clear the cache, but I think killing it all, bringing it back up again, might solve this problem. I hope. It's a theory. Let's do it. So let's do docker compose. Am I going to regret doing this? Is this going to be more problem than it's worth? Let's bring everything down. Why not? Turn the machine on and off, or off and on. I just hope it comes back up. Okay. compose up -d. Now, I can't guarantee whether this is going to clear the cache or not. I don't think it will. But let's dive into another shell and evaluate the Docker machine. Jump into the container and run that command once more. I don't have the history because I've dropped the container. Let's do bin code set run its API -g. I don't think I need to pass an environment because it would default to dev, I would imagine. So let's think. What am I doing here? I'm looking for the group in here. Right, and we want to run this. So this should error. To see this work, it should error, and it should say in the error it should say localhost. But this is passing, and it's passing because it's returning a forbidden response, which is correct because I haven't actually logged in. So this is accessing GitHub, the API. Okay, so that didn't work. So what I'm going to do now is drop everything again. And think. Clear the cache. That's what I'm going to do. Docker volume. ls. There's probably a ton. So we got the cache for this. This is for the test API. But we want to look for the cache for you. Let's get rid of that. So Docker volume rm, off it goes. That's been deleted. So let's now see. There might be another one. No, it looks like that's fine. So let's do an up. It's created that cache folder that I've just dropped. Okay, so then let's get back into the container, which is here. And I'm gonna have to find all the things out again. So bin code set run API -g, copy you and run that. This shouldn't pass. It's failed. It's failed. This could be good. This could be a good thing. This could be a good thing. No such file. This is not a good thing. Why? This is a permissions issue. I knew this was a bad idea. All right, let's just hack it for now. Don't do this at home, kids. chmod -r var cache 777. That's what I need. Is it that, or is it the other way around? Hang on a minute. var. Right. No! Just run the command. That's all I'm asking. I need a sad trombone sound effect. I certainly do. Wah, wah, wah. Come on. Fail and say it can't hit localhost. Oh, you're kidding me. I've never wanted a test to fail so badly. Oh, okay, all right. Let's scratch this for a second. Okay, let's right. So we know that it's not hitting this. For some random reason, it's not hitting this one. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to, well, the only change is this and that. So let's just copy these two bits here and paste them down here, which is in here. So there we go. Right? Okay. Shh. Nobody will know. But now we should be running. We should be running that now. If we're not, then it's madness. Utter madness. I just want to know if it works. Come on. We need a failure. Seriously? Why is that passing? See, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make any sense one bit. Why would that even... That is really confusing. I'm struggling to work out why that's... why that ever was a thing. Do I need to put it in the test environment variable? Test environment instead? Do I need to put that in here? Let's do a rollback on you. Do I need to clear the cache each time I do this stuff? I don't know. But each request that's passing is making a request to GitHub, and that's not good. Yeah. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. Right. Okay. Sod it. Let's put it. Right. Let's put that into. So it's in test. It's in dev. And it's in test. And we're going to put it in the main one as well. Right. We're covering all bases. It must be a cache thing. Must be a caching thing. It must be. This is ridiculous. Let me clear the cache properly, not just drop it. How do I do that? Bin. Not from there. Now, if this works, I've got to work out which one it is that works. I've basically done a shotgun approach. Console. I can't remember what the command is to clear the cache, so... Come on. It's one of these things. Let's get rid of this for a minute. I don't need to see that right now. Make a bit more room. It is something to do with... Is it... Here we go. Cache. Clears the cache. Right. Right, let's clear the cache. Clearing cache for dev environment with debug true. Okay. Apparently I'm in the dev environment. Crikey, this is taking time, isn't it? You know, the real sad thing is my cup of tea is now freezing cold. So I can't even get a caffeine hit. Okay, right, so apparently that's been cleared. Let's run this again. Why? Okay, this is ridiculous. I'm obviously doing something crazy here. Let me have a think. Let's have a look at the actual test itself, right? Which is this. The idea is that it's doing a send request to here. Hang on a minute. Give me a... Yes, it's doing a send request to here. Connect GitHub check, right? There we go. Right, so it's doing a send request, a get request, a send request. It's doing a get request to connect GitHub check. Now this is an internal a route, which is it going to controllers. There is connect here, and it's going to check. Now this is an internal thing, which internally does a lot of stuff around with the authenticator. So it's got a bit of magic. It's then running the GitHub. Yeah. I'll tell you what, let's just run a test on the other one for a second. I might be stumbling over my own feet here, which is probable. Okay, let's take a look at this one above here, the authorized. Let's just run the authorized for a second. Let's just do that. Okay, so that errored, which I would expect. That is what I wanted. I was running the wrong test. Oh. Wow, that's embarrassing. I was running the wrong test. Okay, this is the one I wanted to do, because it should say localhost port 8080. This is the request. Oh my word. I was running the wrong test. Wow. Okay, I tell you what, let's just this skip. This or I skip. Is it I skip? There is something, this tester, this something or other. What are you extending? You're not extending anything. Useless. Can I just skip it from the up here? Yeah, skip recording. There we go. All right. Right, this is the thing I wanted to do. It's localhost 8080 auth, and then this is the state. That is the response type, and all the other jazz, client IDs and other things for the dummy account that I've got. And here we go, and it's going back to localhost connect GitHub check. That right, I was doing it the wrong way. That's what I was I was doing it the wrong way. Okay. Right. Skip recording isn't what I wanted, but I know what I know it should be this one. Right. Okay. So, what I need to do now is send this request to localhost. So, connect GitHub redirects to, instead of that, it should be localhost port 8080 login OAuth authorize. That. So this should pass now. However, yeah, we'll deal with the ins and outs of that. Should be GitHub and all of that jazz in just a second. But I just want to get this firing a request Okay, what's going on here? I thought so. 8080 refused connection for... So it refused the connection. Okay, is that because... is that because in here, if I did tail, no, if I did docker compose log minus f of test API server. Oh, great. I can't remember what it is. Is it API test server or something like that? What are you? Yeah. So it's that attaching to. Oh. Right, let's just jump into it. Yeah, docker compose exec test API test API test. Right, no container found. I've dropped all my containers and I haven't brought this one up. Gosh. Up -d. That's why it wasn't working, because I had... Hang on a minute. Whoa. I'm not in my Docker machine. Damn. Eval. I just brought up that new thingy, didn't I? Which means... Is this still up? Yeah, this is up. Right. Okay, so tail minus f var log devlog. Alright, so no root found for favicon. Fine. How to code well dot zero. Ah, right. Yes. No, you are right. That is what it should be, not localhost. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So it should be that, and this, which is wherever it lives now. In here. No, not in there. In here. That should be that. Why are you... Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. All right, so let's try this again. Tailing the logs below. So this is my test server, test API server. This is the actual API, and it should be routing that request to here. I hope. But now it's failing, and it's saying curl could not resolve host. How to code well. I might have to do the IP address rather than the host name. Yep, I probably knew. Let me do a IP. I think it's 138. Let's do that quickly, just to... It's not ideal, but let's just do it. And again, with the test, that should be this as well. Okay. Right, let's do it again. Not that, come on, this one here. Okay, so we're looking for a request that jumps into this thing here. Come on. Come on. Man, this is going to slow up my testing suite. Okay, nope, that didn't work. It passed. Why did it pass? And why did that... What? Hang on a minute. Give me a second. I'm getting really confused. It should be... Huh. Okay. Okay, let's sort... this is what happens when you work on multiple projects at once. Right. What was the error here? The autoloader expected class, blah, 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 to be defined in yada, yada, yada. The file was found, but the class was not in it. So auth controller, app. Oh dear. This should be the other side, the other way around, right? So controller, GitHub. Okay, are you happy now? Thank you. Right. So let's run. I don't know why that shouldn't have passed. I mean, it did a redirect. So yeah. No, it should have passed. That was correct. It was doing the right thing. It was making a request to this, which was fine. It's just I need to there needs to be another check down here to actually make sure that the status code is correct. We'll get onto that in just a second. Let's just... Here we go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go. Login or... Yay. That worked. I'm going to just do it one more time to prove, and we're going to just get rid of this up here. Just so... Okay, so we're in the container for the API in this shell, and we're in the container for the test server in this shell. So if I ran this, we should see something being output down here, which we do, and it's an error which says no route found for login OAuth authorize. So what I need to do is I need to adjust this to send to GitHub, Git like so. So we're creating a domain like that, GitHub. And if I ran this, it's going to fail, and it's going to fail because I also need to do the same thing to the settings, which are in here. So that needs to go to /GitHub. /GitHub. Okay, right. And then what I need to do is marry this up with on the other project, which is the test server. Here we go. So we got /GitHub, and this is what I was doing, you know, before it all fell down and crashed. So it's going to /login OAuth authorize, and it's going to return a JSON response. I don't know what yet, but it will. But I just want to make sure that this connection is wired up. Let me just come out of that. So let's run that again. So now it should pass. Like, you know, it should pass, and there shouldn't be an error in here. I hope. Matched route. Yes, that worked. So there we go. We've got the match route here. That is the IP address. I reckon I could probably change that to howtocodewell.net. howtocodewell.local at least. That is where we've come from. The back end does all of this magic. So what's happening, you see? Wow, this isn't so bad. This isn't so bad. I do need to go back to here and work out what on earth I've changed, and the screwing around I did of all of this craziness. I need to sort out. So I need to do that before I commit anything. But anyway, yes. Let me just explain what's going on. So what we're doing, we have a test, an API test. The API test on the API is this here. This is what we're checking here. The idea is that we go to /connect GitHub. This is the request that is on the API, on our API. And I can show you that if I went to GitHub. Where are you? Connect. That's what I want. Somewhere in here. I should use just Control O, but here we go. There we go. So it's running /connect GitHub. Okay. So that's what that test was running. /connect GitHub. It's doing a hashing the what's defined as a state, randomizing the number. That's the random string that you get. It's then running get client GitHub. Okay, so this is now getting the GitHub client, and it's passing the state in, and it's wanting to get the user scope. Okay, so this is the part where when you click on the login with GitHub, it sends the user like this little pop-up window where you can put in or sometimes it's not a pop-up window, sometimes it's just another web page where it shows you the username and password for GitHub. And what this is doing is it's saying, this is initiating that, and on the in the setup, it's all very complicated. I do appreciate it. In the setup here, what we've got is a redirect route, which is what we were trying to play with before, but I realized that I was working on the wrong test. Anyway, this is the redirect route. So once the user has put in their username and password, what happens is that obviously GitHub verifies this, and then if it worked, or I think even if it didn't work, it sends a request back to your server based on the connect GitHub check, which is the redirect route. And you can also issue some parameters in there too. And so this was the second test that I was playing. This was the first test I was playing with, and I shouldn't have done. So yeah, it's all a little bit complicated. I really should write this stuff down, because I'll remember. I'll come back to this in like tomorrow and go, what have I done? Okay, so let's go through that again. We issue this connect GitHub request to our server. Our server then deals with the state, so it generates the state. So that goes up to the. I'm doing this again just to reinforce this in my head. It then goes to the connect controller. So connect GitHub. It's then making a request to GitHub. This is using the internal bits of the OAuth package that I'm using. GitHub is the client that we're running. It's creating a state, and it's wanting to run a redirect and use the user scope. That's the next thing we need to deal with once we finish this, of course. So, okay. So then that fires off, and we then get. So instead of going to GitHub, we're actually making this request to our API server, test server. So it now goes to login, OAuth, authorize. and it's doing this request here. That's the request it's doing. So what I need to do is return something to say, yes, that's authorized. Well done, you're in. And then what will happen is it will make another request to get the user based on that scope. So yeah, there's a couple of steps to do yet. First up, let's just tidy the room up a bit. So let's go back to the API. I want to ensure that the settings that I've got are correct. So we screwed around earlier with this, and I want to put this back. Yeah, that's fine. I want to put it back to what it was. I only want to be playing around with dev, which means that I'm going to also remove this as well, because test uses dev. Okay. And then just to be doubly sure, why is that? All right, just to be doubly sure, let's do a rollback on that for a second. Yep. Okay, cool. And we've got our in dev, we should have that going to the provider class. The provider class should be going down into here and overriding the GitHub with these things. We'll deal with those in just a second. Because I want this to be howtocodewell.local, not this arbitrary IP number that changes whenever the Docker machine gets destroyed. Okay, so first thing I need to do is tear everything down, bring everything back up again, make sure that config is working. Then what I need to do is change that IP address to be howtocodewell.local. Then I need to get into I'll do some commits, and then I will work on a return response for this, which then should move us on to the next stage. Okay, so first things first, let's get back into here and then do a docker compose. I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna bring it back up again, and I'm gonna clear the cache. Okay, that's stopping test as well. That's what this is. That's fine. That's all right. Okay, let's bring it back up again. Okay, let's get into the I'm in the wrong server. API bash. There we go. I'm going to do bin console, and I think I'm going to go on a whim. Is it cache clear? It's either cache clear or clear cache. We'll find out in a minute. Cache clear. And let's get out of this for a second. Oh no, I'm still in the container. That's all right. Let's keep tailing that. I also need to get the test for this. So if I need a sad trombone effect for when things go wrong, which will probably get on everybody's nerves because it happens so frequently, what do I get when things go right? Okay, he says just before he runs the test again. Let's do bin code set run API G. Okay, so this is the test that we're going to run. We should see some stuff in here if this works, and we've just changed the config. So this is me making sure that is, going through methodical. That has worked. Wonderful. Okay, the next thing is to change that silly IP address to howtocodewell. Really, this should be in a parameter somewhere, but .local. And fingers crossed this is working. I'm not entirely sure whether this will work, but we'll see. I also need to change the provider as well. If this doesn't work, then it's going to be a problem with how the Docker machine's set up. And if that is the thing, then I'm just I'm not going to be overly concerned. There's too much temptation to go into various rabbit holes. This has failed. Yeah, this has failed. It can't resolve that host. My guessing is that actually, hang on a minute. Let's think about this for a second. We're using Docker Machine. Docker Machine has Docker services. Those Docker services are like host names, aren't they? So let me just try this out. That should be going to should it be going to localhost? I can't work this out. Should it be going to localhost? Because remember, we were screwing around with this whilst looking at the wrong test. So if we go to that was a provider. Let's change that to localhost for a second. This may work. If not, it might be the name of the container of the service. I just don't want to use the IP address because the IP address will change, whereas the name of the service or the name of the virtual host won't. This hasn't worked. Okay, so let's see. Just do one more thing before I move on and revert it back to the IP. Let's have a look and see if we can get it to be the actual service name, which would be let me work this out. Yeah, exit Docker cat of Docker Compose. It would be this. Possibly. Let's try it. Let's just try it. Let's just scratch my curiosity. If it isn't, then let's just run the okay. If it isn't, let's just run the IP address for now. I'm in the wrong project. Right, let's give that a blast. Oh, and I really should be tailing that log. Can't find it on the history. It's API test. There we go. Tail. I just go up. There we go. All right. I've got no idea what happened there. Did that go through? No, it didn't go through. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at this. Yeah, something isn't right with the way this is set up. In the Docker world. For now, it's running off of the IP of the machine. Yeah. Ooh. It could be something to do with the trusted hosts. All right, I think I'm going to take this offline and have a little look at at this. Let's just put it back to the IP address for now. We know that works, and I'm not going to screw around with that at the minute. This is this is a private repo, so I don't worry too much about putting in things like this. But in terms of the test server, that is public. Let's get that all the way back. Okay, let's just run a test to ensure that that is actually the right thing. So again, we should see an output in here, and that we should see that pass. I hope. I don't know why it's so slow. I mean, it's on the same... It's not on the same network. Ooh. I think I've just worked out why I have to use an IP address and not a host name. It's not on the network. It's not on the network. It's not on the Docker network. Right, okay. All right, let me just play with this for another little bit, all right? It's not on the network. Yeah. So what I'll show you I'll show you the Docker Compose for the main thing. We have external networks, which is how to code well, and we attach them to here. So I need to add this. Now this is going to be a bit, if this is the thing, this is going to be a bit tricky. I may have to git ignore this compose file because this is open source. So I may have to git ignore this just because no one else is going to have this network apart from me. But let's bring this down. So let's exit this and let's do a down. I can spell it. Just to bring that. I thought it would throw an error if that had a. No, I thought that would throw an error, but hey. No, it wouldn't. It's external. No, it's fine. Sorry, yeah, it's an external network that it gets created. Okay, no, that's fine. That should be fine. If we run that down, I should have just dropped that container, but whatever. Come on. So it's external, so it's skipping. That's correct. Let's bring that back up. And then, so that's now in the network, which means that I should be able to target this via the other container, which is also in the network. So I should be able to do, he says, suspiciously, I should technically be able to access it now by its container name, by its service name, not container name, service name, which is that. And again, I'm going to have to change this. If this doesn't work now, I am just going to, I'll try localhost once more, and then if that doesn't work, I'll just put this back to the IP address and have done. Right, so what I need to do, go into bash, tail the log. Oh, I've just brought it down, haven't I? So that's, the history's gone. Tail -f var log dev. There we go. Make a bit of room. Run this. And wait. Okay, we got a failure. We didn't get anything in here, so that didn't work. That didn't work out. Let's try. Let me just try localhost one more time, as we've put that into the network now. Localhost. I don't actually need to play with this, but because it would still go in, but it's just. That was the test was my way to ensure that the thing was going into the right place. Come on. Am I going to need to just put it back to the IP address? Yes. Okay, let's just do that. Stop wasting everyone's time, Pete. Let's just get it back to what it was so it was working, and then you can carry on, and then after the stream, you can pull your hair out and work out why on earth localhost isn't working within your Docker machine. Fine. Wrong file. Okay, let's run this. This should work. And I'm also going to take out the host, the network. Well, that's weird. It didn't actually do a thing. I should do restart rather than down, but... Well, I suppose I am taking down the... No, I'm skipping that. I should have just done a restart. Huh? What? Oh. Ugh. That's not gonna work. Come on. Come on. Please work. Please work. Why are you taking so long? Yay, it worked. Excellent. Although that... Oh, I've done the same thing. I've done the same thing. Right. Okay. Okay, that is good now. That is good. Okay, so let me take a couple of steps back and work out what we've done to change IDE error. Apparently, great, good. So with this, we have changed that controller, and apparently there's an index file, and apparently there's that. Let's get rid of all this stuff. This is ridiculous. Templates can go. What have I done to this? There's a space in there. Let's roll that back. Okay, that should be the only file on this. Remember a few months ago I was saying that I wanted to learn more about the GitHub Git command line, and so I wasn't going to be using Git in PHP Storm? Well, I'm sorry. Okay, that's good. This should have passed, which it does. Marvelous stuff. Excellent. I'm going to commit this. Let's get rid of that. Don't need that. Right. It's a good job that my Let's just double check these things. Okay, that was the change of the main. Okay, that's fine. That's good. Git commit. -m. Changing client name. Oh, yes. Okay, what's the next one? Removing this and adding. Okay. And lastly, this is the test. So removing the before statement and changing the endpoint. Okay, that should be it. Which it is. Banging. Bring that up. And then we will get on to the previous project, which is the test server. And we'll do a git status, and we'll do a git diff. What? Git diff? What do you mean there's nothing there? Hey? Git status. Oh, I need to add it, don't I? Save me. Git commit. I know what it is. -am. Adding I thought A was to add and M was to untrack files on here. Git add. I thought A added them all. Right, there we go. Now I can do a commit. There we go. Boom. And I suppose what I should have done, which I didn't do, is I should have done make on the API. No, that's not going back a level. There we go. I should have done make test. Yeah. Yeah. So this is my little check script. It'll run beautifier, then it will run check style, then it will run PHP-MD, then it'll run PHP stand analyze using level 8, I believe it's that. And then it'll run the tests, all of them. Sorry, chat. I've been I've been so distracted with what I'm doing. I'm sorry. Yeah, I do need to have a round of applause sample. Yay! When things go right. It'll be a very rare occasion when that happens, I'm sure. Okay, Mr. DB303's off to dinner. I don't actually know when you sent that, so I'm assuming you're eating now and enjoying your dinner. What is the time? It's 20 to 5. So here in the UK, that's why I'm getting hungry. Enjoy it. M is for adding a message on the command line. Hey, Liquid Oxygen. Yes, you're right. M and A. A is for adding a file. M is for adding is for the message. But for some reason, now it's doing the tests. And these are going to fail because that container isn't running. Oh dear. Docker compose up -d. Is it the test container? Yeah, starting node API 1. Tests are up to date. I'm getting nervous now. Let's check the units. I think that was an IP thing, right? Because these are acceptance tests. Acceptance tests go through. Where are we? Through here, acceptance, and rerun this. It's the wrong IP address. I thought that was the thing. Okay, let's kill all this. I know what's going on. That needs to be that crazy IP address, which I need to sort out because it's causing all sorts a world of pain. 101 is the IP address on my laptop. 138 is the IP address on this machine. Oh, bonkers, absolutely bonkers. I need to sort out that host name. Let me just double, triple, quadruple check that is the thing. That is the IP address. 192.168.99.1. Yes, that's fine. Okay, that's Selenium on the acceptance. All right, let's just run make tests again. Make tests. Right. Whew. Yes, good to see you as well, Liquid Option. Yeah. Ooh. We've had a bit of a crazy one today. I am building a feature in on the How to Code Well backend. It'll be on the front end too, where you can log in via GitHub or Facebook or Google, social login, social sign-on essentially, and it's pretty heavily tested in terms of the mechanics, in terms of like making sure that there is a user is on the system, and it does all sorts of random stuff to sort of assign an existing user a GitHub user based on certain credentials and all that jazz. So that's all tested and done. The thing that isn't tested is the end-to-end test. So actually making a request to GitHub from start to finish. And the problem with doing an end-to-end test on a social sign-on such as this is that you keep hammering the GitHub or the platform, the third-party platform that you're using. And I don't want to be doing that. So what I've decided to do is create a test API server, which is open source. I've only literally started it today, and it's just a Symfony 5 PHP 8 sort of server. It's in a container, and I can in test mode, I can, instead of sending the request that I would normally send to GitHub, I'm sending it to the test server, capturing that, and then manipulating the response, sending a response back, and then that should bridge the gap with my end-to-end. Fingers crossed, this is just a work in progress. It's just a work in progress. I was trying to think of ways to do it. I was coming up with some crazy ideas. Like there's some tools that you can use for man-in-the-middle attacks, and you can utilize those to sniff connections. So I was thinking of running something that, I think it's man-in-the-middle proxy. I was thinking about doing that to capture the request to GitHub and then redirect it somewhere. But that seemed like a sledgehammer to crack a nut. And then I was thinking about there's this thing called PHP VCR where it records the requests and responses, and you can record those and put them down into YAML files as almost like procedural steps. And I was looking into that, but then that was very complicated. And then I just thought, hey, it's you're making a request to something. I looked into the mechanics of Symfony this morning with the packages that I was using. So so what's going on is I'm using the PHP League OAuth 2 GitHub package via KPN University. So KPN University bundle is this thing here. KPN University OAuth 2 client. And the idea, this is on the default thing. The idea is that you provide a client, you provide the GitHub IDs and secrets and other bits and pieces. You also provide a redirection route, which is obviously a redirection route that's local to yours on your machine, on your box. It's where GitHub sends the response to. But anyway, I need to make a request to GitHub. So what I looked into, this is running off of this thing here, which was KNP University, and it was OAuth 2 client bundle. There we go, that's the thing. So it's using this bundle here, and you can set up all sorts of different providers that you want. And right at the bottom of this really good documentation, there is this thing here about, if I can find it, it's right at the bottom somewhere. Under configuration, there's lots of configuration you can do based on each of the clients. Come on. I think come on. I think it's down here. Here we go. You can create a generic provider, and in that generic provider, you can give a client. So, for instance, here, this is like the foobar OAuth, and you can say that the type is generic, and you can give it a provider class, which is the thing that you're providing. So, in the GitHub's world, it would be the GitHub provider, which is inbuilt by, scroll to the top, by PHP League, I believe. GitHub, yeah. So this is the thing that will go out production-wise, right? So this is using the GitHub OAuth 2. It's a client that hooks into the KPN University OAuth 2 client. Okay. So that works in normal mode, right? Let's just bring it all down. But I wanted to find a way. Come on. I wanted to find a way of manipulating the URLs for the clients. And I read this bit here: extending and decorating client classes. So essentially, what happens is when you run GitHub, the normal GitHub client, it goes down into, oops, let's have a look at the vendor for a second. Actually, I can just show you the, in SRC, in security. Right, so usually it runs this. This is in the PHP League OAuth 2 provider. That is this thing here, right? So usually that's tests, Pete. That's tests. That's tests still. Yeah, here. So usually it would run this, and you can see that it's hard coded in here as public properties. The URL to GitHub, the API. And what I wanted to do was find a way of manipulating this. So I'm actually sending it so I can change this. That's what I wanted to try and do. And I read this part here, extending decorating client classes, and also configuring a generic provider. So as a little workaround, as a little hack, what I've done in dev mode is, so we've got one in normal mode, but the difference in dev mode is that the type is generic, still running off of the GitHub service, but the type is generic, and I'm providing a provider class, which is not what I'm doing in here, because it's using the default provider class provided by PHP League. But what I'm doing, what I'm doing in clicking about now, what I'm doing here, GitHub provider, is I'm sending this class instead. And this class extends the GitHub provider by PHP League, but because of those lovely public properties, I can override them with my own IP address, or the container host name, or what have you, yet to be decided. But anyway, what I've got running is down here in this lovely box is the API test server, which I've got running on GitHub. It's open source. I literally built it today. There we go. How to code well, test API server. And there should be, I should have just pushed this up, unless I've got a branch going. No, have I not pushed it up? Come on. Good. Okay, so we should now have another branch. Yeah. In GitHub. I won't do a pull request yet because I still need to work on it. But what I want to show you is that in SRC, in controller, we now have GitHub auth controller, which picks up login OAuth authorize, which is the request I'm making via my API, and it's coming back with the right stuff, or it's being sent the right stuff. So this is the stuff that gets that the KPN University put in the state, and that's the redirection URL, client ID, response type, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so now I've got that. Now I've captured that. I can play with it and send a response back, and then basically manipulate and simulate what GitHub would be sending back. And I want to do this for GitHub, Facebook, and all the other things. I'm sure that there is something already out there that does this, but it's probably not specific to how to code well for my needs. So I just thought I would build it. I get to masquerade as GitHub. Yeah. Right, so all of the tests are running through. We've got 7 acceptance tests they're passing. We've got 75 API tests. We'll let them go through. I'm going to grab a cup of tea, and I'll be back, and then we'll deal with the response of of this where's it all gone? Too many things. Right. Yes, we'll come back with something here, and then we'll run a test to ensure that that comes back properly, and then we'll see if we can move this authentication thing forward. But for now, I'm just going to grab a cup of tea. So I will be back shortly. See you in a few minutes. Okay. So, I think, how are the tests running? We should have a. No, that's not them. These 480 tests, 793 assertions, all passing. Woo. Okay, that's good. That's far better than when we started the stream. Brilliant. That's making me feel much better about this about this sprint. I still think we're tight on schedule, but I may have to discuss this later, like next month. Essentially, if I can't get this done by the end of March, it's going to squeeze the front end. By the end of February, then the front end is going to be squeezed because I need to set this up in the front end. But we'll get to that. But it's working. We're moving forward. It's just very slow. Okay, so let's get into the container of let's make test units. No. Docker compose. Docker compose exec. There we go. Right, let's get into the container. Let's just tail the logs for a minute whilst we do this. Okay. We can get rid of this now because that was all the tests, so we can get rid of that. This one here, this is still making the single test to authorize. And one thing I probably need to deal with is this. So you can see it coming through. Is this here? HTTP localhost connect GitHub check response. This here is something I need to manipulate. The redirect URI. I need to find a way of changing that, because the redirect URI is the thing that this needs to return to. I think. If I was to do this as a full test, hang on a minute. Give me a second whilst I just wrap my brain around this for a second. Right. So, acceptance. It's not an acceptance test, it's an API test. And we are looking at the Git Connect. This is the thing that we're making here. Now, I can manipulate the response fine. That's all good. And it's doing that thing. And then what happens is you get the GitHub login, you enter your details, you hit submit, and that goes to the check, which is this thing here, which runs this here as a GET request. Okay. So, do we need to dress this up? I think we do. I think I need to create an API endpoint that represents the scope of that. Right, so I need to do that. But how do I get to that point in the first place? When I do a redirect, it redirects to here. Sorry, I'm just sort of trying to work this out in my brain. Verify redirect. That's where we're going. And then this is what happens on the check. Now I think this needs to be different. If we had a look at the config, in here, redirect route is that. Now it's saying localhost. That would say howtocodewell.net. Check GitHub. I wonder if I can, because that is this site here, which would be howtocodewell.local. Yeah. So essentially what would happen is, if I'm thinking about this correctly, what would happen is we would do a get request to connect GitHub. That would then do a redirect to this, where one would put in some credentials and then submit, and then that would then go to the redirect, which is this. That's correct. Yeah. Okay. Now we tried to run this connect check. We're checking that the response code is 403. Connect GitHub check. What did I do? I'm sure I did something that in here. I'm sure I set something to be null. Change app homepage to some route in your app. Return a redirected response of the target URL, or on success, let the request continue to be handled by the controller. Okay, we then have an on authentication failure, and we've got a start here. That's fine. So should that be connect? Called when authentication is needed, but it's not sent. This redirects to login. I think that needs to be GitHub. Might be the site where the user chooses their OAuth provider. Oh right, no, that's not the thing. Something else. That's something else. Okay. Get credentials, passing in the request. This method is only called if supports returns true. Connect GitHub check. Right, so at that point that would return true. Then we would run get credentials. Credentials would require would have something in there, an access token. And the access token, here we go. Yeah, here we go. The access token would be provided to this. So I think what I need to do is I need to go to, bear with me a second. I need to mock this, I think. Yeah, okay, so we're passing in the client ID, the redirect URI. Okay, fine. Login in the scope. Yep. Allow, blah, 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 that's fine. Users are redirected back to your site by GitHub by if the user accepts the request, GitHub redirects back to the site with a temporary code. So we've got approval prompt, client ID, redirect URI, response type, and code. And the response type is code, and scope is user, and state is this thing here. So we want to get a code. So I'm wondering if, where it says GitHub redirects back to your site with a temporary code, I'm assuming that code needs to go into the response of the thing that we've just built. So in a code parameter, as well as the state you provided in a previous step, which is the state parameter. So I need to capture the state, which is this. So in here, I need to do state is equal to request get state. So get request state. And I'm assuming I pass it back, but we'll get to that in a second. The temporary code will expire after 10 minutes if this. Okay, we don't need to worry about that. If the states don't match, then a third party has created the request, and you should abort the process. Okay, we can skip that too. I am the third party. Yeah. Okay, so these are the parameters, and this is what I'm after. This is what I should have just scrolled down. This is what I'm after. By default, the response takes the following form. Okay, so access token, token type is bearer. You can also receive the content in different formats depending on the accept headers there. So we need to return in JSON access token, and we can make one up. I suppose we could literally make one up, can we? For now, let's just do ABC. The scope. And the scope would be based on the scope that we get here. I think that's right. If we had a look at the here, we're after a scope, aren't we? Somewhere there's a scope. Response type, scope. Here we go. Scope is user. Come on. No, come on, Pete. That's the key. The key is scope. The value, the default value could be user. That's fine. Okay. So scope goes into here, and we also have the token type, which is bearer. So we go type is equal to. Let me just make sure I got the spelling correct for this. This is the token type. Okay, so now that gets sent back as the response. So token type is you. Okay, what am I doing with state? Am I doing anything with that? It said I should be doing something up here. If the user accepts the request, GitHub redirects back to with a temporary code in a code parameter, as well as the state you provided in the previous step. Okay, in a state parameter, fine. The temporary code will expire 10 minutes after 10 minutes. Exchange this code for an access token. Oh, I see. I see. Okay, yeah, no. This is an additional step. So I shouldn't be sending this back. I should be creating another request. Which is this. That's authorize. So authorize is this. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And then this is access token. So let's spin it back to here. There we go. And we'll call it access token. Okay. I see. Okay, so we pass the state over to... Yeah, okay, I'm with you. We don't need that here. This is token, access token. So there's a number of state. I'm just trying to wrap my head around the OAuth2 flow. There's a number of things. So at this point here, which is the authorize, let's just call that authorize, and authorize, just so we know what's going on. Right, so when GitHub specifies a login parameter, it prompts the user with a specific account. Yeah. We all know that. We all know that. The scope, spaced enumerated list of scopes. No, that's fine. An unguessable random string. This is to protect across cross-site requests and forgeries and all that jazz. This is the parameters that we send to here. And then, I see. Okay, so this, I see. If the user accepts the request, okay, so this is when they hit submit and all that stuff. GitHub redirects back with a temporary code. Okay, so I need to pass in a code. Of course I do. Yes. Of course I do. Yeah. Temporary code in a code parameter. So a temporary code of ABC, whatever. As well as the state that you provided back. So we then do state here. And this is where I can do all sorts of magic to manipulate this and test whether there has been a man-in-the-middle attack. Marvelous. I get this now. Okay, so these are the parameters that we supply. This is exchange this code for a bearer token. Right, okay, that's fine. Code is ABC, and then this is a post request posting the code, which then sends the access token. Holla! Right. Thank you very much for following Jan's WTF? YNSWTF. Thank you very much for following. Okay, so what I need to do, right, that's going to return a JSON response with code and a state. I'm going to create two requests, one here. No, okay, I'm going a mile a minute. Let's just do one request and then I'll change the state and then make sure that that's, okay, yeah. Right, so that's going to return a JSON response with the code and the state. So let's go back to the API here. And let's go to the test, which is somewhere. So it does the send request. It then does a verify redirect, which is this. Can we grab the response of that? That's what I need to do. is it grab response? Grab column, grab from database, grab numbers, grab response. Here we go. I grab response. Hello, Josho493. Thank you very much for following as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I grab response. That returns the response, right? Why does that return a string? Grab response. I'm gonna have to look at the codeception docs for this. Codeception. Grab response. Okay, here we go. Return the current response so that it can be used in the next scenario steps. So grab response. I grab response. I send a put. User ID. Okay. Okay. It returns a string part JSON. I see. I guess I need to do a JSON decode, right? Because it's going to be JSON. So okay. Let's not make some assumptions here. So I see response is JSON, contains JSON, is JSON. All right. Let's do that first. Just run that test because I've got a sneaking suspicion that because this isn't following on a I'm not sure whether that is following that. We'll have to see. Let me just quickly run that test. It passed before, right? Yeah. Okay. So here we go. It does the request to here, and it's failed. Body. Syntax failed asserting that 4 matches 0. What? C response is JSON, invalid JSON. It's returning HTML. No. Oh, okay. It isn't following. This is the redirection. But then we got the body here, which is what we want. How do I get that? This is a helper method that I created. It's I just want to check that because that might be the thing that's causing the issue. If I go to where am I? Where is this? This is API. I think it's at the bottom here. Verify redirect. So ensure that a particular URL redirects to another URL. But I'm not sure it is following. Disable. Oh, right. Can I set this to true? I may have to pass this as a parameter. Let me see. Okay, so it's made the request and it has failed again because it's failed at setting that 302 matches a 200. Okay. Oh wait, okay, that is because I'm following. Oh, I fix one, I screw up the other. Right, let's try it again. What? Verify redirect. 200 OK. Failed asserting that 2 strings are equal. No, I think I've gone and broken it. That's what I want to pull out. I don't understand why I can't do that. Let me... let's just see. Can I do a var dump of what responses? And with this, let's change that to false. Back to what it was. And here, let's change that to 302. Back to what that was. Right, let's run it again. See what we've got, if anything. It's the redirection. Redirecting to. Yeah, it's the redirection. How do I get that then? Have HTTP headers, C binaries response equals to. It's getting the response of the redirection. It's not getting the response after the redirection. So it's I wonder what happens if I just do that, right? So I'm not doing any verification, which means that I'm not doing switching the following on and off at all. There we go. Okay. I'm thinking that maybe I'm doing two different tests here. One is to ensure that the redirection is correct. Okay, then. So yeah, so authorize redirection test. Okay, and then the next test is this, but checking that the code comes back. So we do all of this stuff as we've done before, but we don't do this. We do I grab response, and the response did that actually come back as JSON? I need to decode it. So I JSON decode. I think I do. Hang on, what did those docs say? Returns the current response so that it can be used in other... Yeah. I don't know what this means. Return a string, part JSON, part XML, available since 101. Anyway, we should see this. Have I got tester? Nope. I see. I tell you what, I see response is JSON. Let's do that first before we do a decode. Yeah. All right, let's just run this one. Okay, so it is JSON. I don't need to decode it. That's good. Okay, so I can see JSON contains an array where we have code ABC and we've got state, which is the state that we supplied. Is this contains? Can I just run that as a? Is that going to fail? It probably is. It's probably going to fail, isn't it? Let's just give it a go. I can't remember whether this is checking the type or checking the actual. Yeah, it fails. The state is that, and I believe the state changes each time. So I kind of need to capture this state. Verify redirect. Yeah, okay. What I've done on the verify redirect, remove query string is true, and really what I need to do is grab that query string. Somehow. Somehow, well, this is going. Somehow I need to grab that query string. Location header 0. So that would be 1. Assert equals response code, end URL location header, follow redirects is true. I need to somehow grab that. Location header, location static, get header. Aha. Okay, get header. I tell you what, let's change this to be can or match. See, JSON matches JSON path, matches type. Here we go, matches type. So let's do string and string. So that should now check the types are correct. Okay, that's fine. Okay, right. I will put in the gaps later, I think. But I'm just trying to get to the next point. And the next point is, once this has happened, we need to make a request. I should really be doing this in an acceptance test, not an API test, because this is more to do with yeah, I should be doing it in an acceptance test. I mean, these tests are fine, but it's a user journey, really. I mean, it's kind of like, let's just throw one together. So Github Login. So the feature here is to log in with a Google, a GitHub. Actually, let's just take a couple of steps back. This is GitHub access token. So get a as a logged in out user attempt to log in with GitHub. Okay, scenario, attempt to get a GitHub okay, so when I log in with blah 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 blah, so this should be when I request GitHub, when I connect to GitHub, right? When I connect to GitHub, then I so that's doing this thing here, and it's going to return the code and the state. I get a code and state. Right. So that's scenario, the first scenario. Attempt to, so this is attempt to get a GitHub code, access code. That's the feature. Then there's another scenario. So as a logged out, that's a bit too wordy. Attempt to log in. Attempt to get a using a valid state. Okay, so using a valid state. So in this case, attempt to get the GitHub access token when I connect to GitHub with a valid state. I get a code, and then I get the code and state. And I can see the state matches and the next one, once the state matches, which we've just seen up, where are we? So I'm doing this test here where when we request the GitHub identity, sorry, no, not that one. If the user accepts, so this is assuming the user has accepted, right? So we're skipping the whole manual, username, password jobby. So they've requested that. GitHub redirects them back to the site with a temporary code and in the code parameter. So that's what we're checking for, and as well as the state. And the state is the same state as you provided in the previous step. So so I connect with GitHub with the state, and I can pass in something. Then I get a code and I can see that the code, I can see the state matches. I can see the returned state matches the requested state. Okay, and then the next part is the temporary code will expire after 10 minutes. After the states if the states don't match, which is the thing that we need to test for, then a third party has created the request and you should abort the process. So that's something I need to test, which is why we're doing it in scenarios, because there'll be a scenario where it doesn't match. Exchange this code for an access token. Okay, so when that all works, then I get the code and state, and I can see the returned state matches the requested state. Then I exchange the code for a access token. So we exchange the code for an access token. And okay, so this is actually feature is attempt to get an access token using a valid state. GitHub access token. Okay, so it is token. It is token, not code, because that's the yeah. So I make a request with a valid with a state. I get a code back. I then make another request with that code to get an access token. There we go. Yeah. So that is access token here. Okay, there is another scenario that I want to write, and that is where I attempt to get an access token with a invalid code. So I connect to GitHub with a state. I get the code, a code and state back. I get the code. I get when so I need to somehow manipulate the code at this point. Then I get, okay. So then I change the code to something, and so that's fine. That's covered up there. Then I change the code to it. Then I exchange when, then, and then, when, then, so where does this happen here? Exchange this for this. Oh yeah, it happens before we deal with this. Okay, so it's not here, and I don't exchange it for it because I can't. So this isn't it doesn't get changed at this point. It gets changed. I connect to GitHub with the state. I'm wondering if I need to do up here. Then I validate the code, because that's what we need to do. Then I validate the code. And I see the code matches, is correct. I can see the returns matches the state. Do I need to do that as well? Then I validate the code. Do I do the in a code parameter as well as the state you provided in the previous state? The temporary code will expire in 10 minutes. Oh, it's a state. It's not the code. Sorry. I validate the state. Duh. And I can see the state matches, which is what I was doing down there. Matches. Matches the requested state. Okay. I exchange. I send the code to GitHub, and I get a access token. Boom. Okay. I connect to GitHub with the state blah blah blah. I get a code and the state. Okay, right, I see. When I access it, I get the this should be, and we can pass that in. These are parameters in this feature. So I get a code and the state, blah 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 blah. I validate the state. I see the state matches because they are the same. Okay. I then send the code to GitHub. I get an access token. Boom. Next one is I attempt to get a GitHub access token with an invalid code, with an invalid state. Sorry. I connect to GitHub with this state. I then get a code and the state. We're going to manipulate this. Then we do the validate, because it's the API, the test API that'll do that. Then I validate the state, and I see the state doesn't match. And I see error or something, but that's essentially the two pathways that I need to deal with, because at this point I need to just crash out. So what would happen in the API when that happens? Because I basically need to verify the state. And if it doesn't, I need to return an access. I see access denied. Error. There we go. Okay, that's a lot for me to chomp on, I think. I think we're making a fair bit of progress, though, which is good. With the testing, yeah. Okay, cool. I will sort that out in a second. Let's come out of this. Let's do Git Commit -am. Adding endpoints. Excellent. Okay, so that's now being pushed up to GitHub. I won't do the pull request because I wouldn't mind doing the pull request once this feature has been built. So I'll keep pushing up the branch as I go, but I'll then do a pull request and then update the version number or something on this. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So what we should have done, which we didn't do today, was the code challenge review. So every month what happens is I do a code challenge. and it's a series of challenges, a series of levels. They get progressively harder, and I do a review of the people's code, of your code, live on Twitch at the end of every month. We didn't do it today because I was dealing with this, but I would like to do it next week. Next week. So the challenge this time is to do some PHP one-liners. If we went to codechallenges.howtocodewell.net, which I'll put down here in the chat, you can see that there is this the series, the 5 different levels. This is the latest challenge. PHP CLI one-liners, a series of PHP one-liners that run on the command line. You can use the WSL, Mac or Linux. Each example must be performed on a single line of code and ran in the terminal. Your code will be reviewed on Twitch on January 31st, Sunday. So that's going to be changed to February. The first level is to pull back the podcast, the How to Code Well podcast, as a RSS feed. Second one is to randomize the alphabet, so return the alphabet in a random sequence. Level 3 is to count the names in an array, so return an array that shows a count for each of the occurrence of these names. So for example, Kim is in there a couple of times, 3 times, 1, 2, and 3, whereas Billy's in there twice, and I'm in there twice too. Level 4 is to display the happy birthday song, so return the following in a single line. Replace your name with the name of your Twitch or Discord username. Each line in the song should be output in a line on the terminal. Level 5 is to output the contents of the current working directory. Use PHP to access the shell and list the contents of the current working directory. So I'm going to be doing this next week. And if you want to submit your code challenge, put these in a GitHub repository. If you click on this button here, you'll see how to submit your code for a review. So to submit your code for a review, to create a GitHub repository per challenge and post the GitHub repository link to the Discord Coding Challenges channel. So I'll put the Discord link in the chat. Each challenge will be reviewed live on Twitch at the end of the month. Take a look at this month's challenge, which is this one. I am going to change that. I will do that now. Let's go over to code challenges. Oh, thank you very much, Liquid Oxygen, for subscribing for 6 months. Tier 1, thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. That's helped loads. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated your support. Where's the repo gone? Here we go. New window. Cancel. Not that one. This one. Here we go. Anybody know what the date is next month? Because I don't know. Oh, next week. Let's have a look. Where's my phone? I don't know. I don't even know what day it is today. 31st, of course it is. It's tax season. What a depressing thought. The calendar. Come on, new phone. It's the 7th. The 7th. So that will be happening on February the 7th. 7th? Have I? No, that is. Hang on a minute. I don't know if I've done this right. Let me just triple check something a minute. Let's get into the weeds a bit. We'll get rid of this, and we'll get rid of this for now. Let's go into the why is my caps lock on? Code, how to code well, code challenges. Woo! Right. This shouldn't be on this branch. That's why I'm confused. In fact, let's just... Why does this need to be pushed up? I don't understand. Let's do a git checkout of main. What? Oh, I haven't changed it from master, I don't think. Yeah. There we go. We have the January. Okay, fine. Git checkout -b features or fixes, updates, whatever. Change date. Okay. So it is the 7th, which is Sunday of Feb. Okay. Git status, there should only be that file. Git commit -am changed date. Boom. Git push. Fine. Git push. I didn't do the origin. One day I will learn how to track my changes. Track the branch. What is this? Fixes, change date. This must be very painful for people to watch. Come on. Tell it's been a long stream. Right, let's get into, well, we've got GitHub open here. Yes, click on that, please. Thank you. Code challenges. Yes, I want to do a pull request. Let's just triple check. Yeah, that's Feb 7th, Sunday. Boom. Create the pull request. Merge the pull. I'm not sure if I've wired this up to go to the Discord server yet on the open source channel. Well, I'll have a look in a minute. It should do. It should do. Anyway, that's been pushed now to master. Let's get rid of the branch. So we will just wait and see. That should change because this is deployed to Netlify, I think it is. Yeah, Netlify. So it's a bit of an interesting challenge, I think, because you're running the PHP code strictly on the command line, and it's supposed to be one line. So one line on the command line to do all these things: pulling out an RSS XML feed, randomizing the alphabet in a random sequence, counting the names in an array, display the happy birthday song, happy birthday to you. There's lots of different ways to do this, and I have seen a submission today where they nailed it, and it's not the way I would have done it, and it's better than the way I would have done it. Which is what I really like about these things. I'm going to do this challenge as well next week. So next Sunday, I won't be doing any how to code well stuff apart from this. I want to just dedicate it to this. This one's interesting. Output the contents of a current working directory in PHP. So usually what you would do, say, is to output the current the contents of your current working directory, you would just do ls, right? I want you to do that in PHP. So that's learning the shell commands in PHP. And the RSS feed's a good one as well, because this is return the How to Code Well podcast feed as XML. That's the RSS feed. And number 2 is to randomize the alphabet as well. So again, this is an interesting one. How do you create an array of the alphabet and then randomize it all in one line? And then this one, once you know the quick way to do this, you'll probably kick yourself because you've used loops. Let's see, has that changed? Come on. Sometimes it does take time. Yeah, it does. For Netlify to do the thing. It has gone in 5 minutes ago. It's a old Gatsby site. I probably should change the README to be the latest challenge. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? So change the README file. If I could do that automatically, that'd be great. Change the README file to the latest challenge. Because the latest challenge is, well, they're all markdown pages. So if I wonder if I could do something where maybe like a GitHub action that takes the latest based on date, and then puts that in the README or something, or at least have a link in the README to the latest one or something. Or just convert this into a GitHub pages. There's lots of things we could do. Yeah. Has that changed? Yes, February the 7th. Woohoo! Okay, so next Sunday, I will be looking at this and reviewing your code, and I'll be doing this too as well. I'm looking forward to this. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Anyway, I'm gonna shoot off, grab my my Sunday dinner, and think a little bit more about the wonderful world of creating API test servers. Thank you ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everyone. I will see you all Tuesday morning, 7 in the morning, GMT. Is it GMT now? I think it is. Here in the UK, and yeah. And we'll crack on and do some other bits. We'll probably do some code notes next week, because I need to crack on with those too. Anyway, ciao. Have a good evening. Bye bye.